There we go. The mic never works the first time I talk. Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to chapter 1116, which is crazy. This is the 1000 chapter anniversary of us ever first hearing of Elbaf, which is amazing. I don't know if Oda's going to do any math piece here. I honestly doubt it because we have a lot of other stuff going on. I don't know how he could possibly squeeze in, some like us going, like seeing Elbaf or anything. But, you never know. Maybe I'll eat my words here in a minute. But thank you all for showing up. Appreciate you. I just got back from Costco. I just ran back. And anyone who's been to Costco knows this issue. Whenever you go to Costco to try to buy one or two things, you end up leaving with like 20 things. And that's exactly what happened. And so I'm glad I got here in time. But it was tough, man. It was tough. I bought a lot of stuff I don't need. Went to go buy an electric toothbrush and dog food and left with a lot of other stuff. But appreciate you guys for being here. I gotta turn some music on my end. I think you guys can already hear the lo-fi. Cool. Yeah. Did not get everything set up, but we did start on time, which is, that's good in and of itself. I have not been spoiled on the chapter, which is amazing. But I have heard that it's a shorter chapter. So, it is what it is. But I'm still looking forward to it. We got a lot of stuff going on in, with the Vegapunk message and everything. I've heard a lot of discourse recently about things moving a little slow. Like we're seeing a lot of reactions. I saw a compilation of like all the reaction shots over the last few chapters, and there's like 1 million. But I mean, if Oda wants to give us some more, I'm not going to turn it down because I mean, this is a crazy moment. But hopefully, like I said, we're 1000 chapters from Elbaf, so I kind of would like us to start getting in that realm of things soon, but we'll see. But appreciate you guys for showing up. See, we already have over 100 people here, which is amazing. Unfortunately, I don't have any memberships to give because like we get 10 a month. Every creator gets 10 a month. I already used my 10, but come in a couple days and I'll be giving out some more memberships. I always try to do that right at the start. But I also saw that purple and green were close on the poll, so I just did both. I actually stopped it right when the numbers were very close so that I could do that, on purpose, so I could, have green and purple. So, saw Kush Daddy with the super chat. Peak Shakira or peak Christina Aguilera? Oh, I have to go Shakira. I don't even know if I have a choice. Because of one song, one specific song, Hips Don't Lie. That separates Shakira above the rest automatically. I mean, well, a lot of people, because I mean, that's like one of the top songs of like the 2000s. It came out in the 2000s, right? Or was it like late 90s? 14, yeah, mid 2000s. But regardless, top tier song. Got to go with Shakira, no question. Kush Daddy. Also, Kush Daddy and I have a deal where I'm supposed to talk like Jar Jar Binks eventually. I told him I got to practice first, but we're going to work on it. And then Lonely Mage with the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate you, man. I'm glad you could be here because I know you tend to do your own reactions and stuff, so I'm glad you're here. Shout out to the 5 new members, I should say. Who is Ray, No One, Mind Hacks, Alligator Tears, and Joel Lee. Appreciate you guys. Lonely Mage, the GOAT. I already see some W's in the chat. I was about to ask for some, but y'all are way ahead of me. So appreciate you. So, like I said, I haven't been spoiled on the chapter, but I did have a few comments that I didn't get spoiled on, but like they start with like in chapter 1116 blank 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 blank, and I stopped reading, but I'm like, we don't have to do that. We can wait till I react to the chapter. You know what I mean? But I'm not spoiled, so it's all good. I assume most of it's in good faith anyway. So I think last week I mentioned how I was having an amazing day and the chapter was great and I was in a super good mood. I still am in a great mood, but a little bit of irony is the next morning after that reaction, I went to go clean my cat's litter box and pulled a muscle in my back. So for the last week, I've been like down for the count. I had to get a video done and turn into a sponsor, turn it into the brand or whatever. And that was really hard because I couldn't even sit in a chair. This is like the first day I feel normal. So now the spirits are back up, but since that stream ended almost, because I went to bed a few hours after that and, then woke up, clean litter box, and boom. But we're here now, and I'm super excited for this, guys. So even though I heard it's a shorter chapter, still looking forward to it. But I'm just going to go ahead and get right into it. I want to respond to some chats, but I'm just like a little weary because of the messages from earlier. I don't want to get spoiled. Not that I know you guys, aren't going to do that, but I'll get to the chats in just a minute. because we're probably gonna have a lot to talk about once this is done. But all right, chapter 1116, conflict. Okay, so this is finally all right. So I mentioned this last stream, and we were like 5 chapters deep in the cover story, and Yamato didn't even leave the building yet. And I was like, Oda, come on, like we've been at this for a couple months, you know, and Yamato can't even get out of the building. But now we see that they're out of the building, and not only is everyone out, so we see Urashima back there. I just realized why. It is what it is. But so it says getting medicine and dumplings from Osuru, but I can't be the only one who looked at that bag and thought it was a devil fruit right away, right? Did anyone else think that? Like, the first time I looked at that, I thought for sure that's what it was going to be. And doesn't that kind of look like Kanjuro's fruit? Or is that the one I'm thinking of? Do we know what that looks like? No, it's not Kanjuro's. It's someone else, because Kanjuro has the black top to it. Otherwise, it would look similar. It looks like a certain devil. Maybe it's Yamato's that it looks like, right? I mean, obviously, it's not a devil fruit, but it's just Kanjuro died, so I was hoping it would be him. It kind of looks like Yamato's. It's just Yamato's doesn't have that many swirls, but that's interesting. I was really, really, really hoping it was going to be Kanjuro's fruit, because obviously he died. I like that we can kind of see the Straw Hat symbol back there. That's pretty cool. Sir Lancelot, I see your super chat. I'm going to get to that as soon as I'm done reading the chapter. It'll be the first one I get to. I just don't want you to think I'm missing it. I know you sent it right when I got started. So, all right. So let's get into Vegapunk's message, which, again, I'm super hyped about, and I'm okay with more. But we got to be getting to the end of it kind of soon, right? Like, how much more does Vegapunk have in the tank to reveal? You know. Did he just say that there are world-sinking weapons still out there somewhere? A truth too hard to swallow. How can an 800-year-old war be ongoing? No one from back then is even alive today. And I love how they have Emu in the panel while that's happening. Why would a war rage on in total secrecy? And then we see Emu looking at what I can only imagine is Lily. And so in the flower room, there's like a portrait of Lily. She looks dead on Vivi, which I think a lot of us already kind of knew, but interesting. Vegapunk. Is this Emu talking now? I guess with the font change it has to be. Interesting. In all sincerity, so Vivi's missing, that's what the papers say. I want to apologize from the bottom of my heart, as there is something else I must confess. My goal was always to create an energy source to fuel society's development, and while it remains unfinished, my research has culminated in the Mother Flame. Its power has many practical uses. I am certain that one day this undying energy can be harnessed to ensure that the entire world lives in abundance. The breakthrough is marred, however, as a small fragment of the flame was stolen. I take full responsibility for this unfortunate event. So that's what York did. So Vegapunk knew that York was going to steal part of the flame. It's just so interesting because he recorded this a few days ago, so he knew about York's... I mean, maybe he didn't know it was York whenever he recorded this, and maybe we're about to find out, but I just think that's really interesting. Like, I mean, obviously, he knew ahead of time the weapon was going to get used and stuff, but it's like... I don't know. It's just, he could have stopped it, I guess, is the feeling I'm getting right now if he knew this much. But regardless, I take full responsibility for this unfortunate event. The Cypher Pole agents are stuck in the middle of the island. This is bad. They're completely surrounded by flames. That was quite the tremor. Any idea what's happening, Edison? That spooked me too. The whole gosh darn basement came crashing down here with all the Cypher Pole agents in tow. Can't generate any more clouds for the Straw Hat crew. Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that, but by Nostro cutting the clouds, it's going to make it so Edison's plan to get the Straw Hats out further, because remember, like, they need to fill that gap that the Vega Force was going to do, because the Vega Force was going to take them the initial jump, and then they were going to coup de burst the rest to get all the way over all the ships and get out of there. And so I didn't even think about that. That's interesting. Another monstrous elder must be heading up. Stussy, get yourself out of there. Edison, is it okay if I let Kaku go free? Okay. Huh? I don't want him to suffer the consequences of this. Don't worry, I won't let him go after the Straw Hats, and I don't think pursuing them will be his priority anyway. I love this emotional, like, CP0 moment here, where, like, they're getting humanized a little bit. I like that. Understood, Stussy. I'm sorry for putting y'all through this. It didn't occur to me that they were your friends. Forgive me for making you turn on them. Despite being torn between both sides, you still rescued us. That inner conflict is proof of your humanity, Stussy. Do as you please. Just find a way to keep on living. 2 weeks after the flame fragment was stolen, we observed an intense glow emanating from above the kingdom of Lucia. How long ago did he record whatever? I later got the news that the entire nation had mysteriously vanished without a trace. Before long, my equipment registered the worldwide earthquakes I mentioned earlier. This might be my pride as a scientist talking, but I was certain of one fact. Only the Mother Flame could supply the immense energy needed to cause this tragedy. Lucius gone? Is that Elizabello? This is the first we're hearing about this. My very own invention was used to power an ancient weapon. That's a big reveal, for sure. I want to find out more about it, because if you saw my video, the anti-Pluton stuff, I want to see, you know, what he means, I guess. Because there's, like, duplicate ancient weapons, right? Like, or at least that was what the blueprints were for. The motives and origin of the perpetrators are a mystery to me, but in the end, it all boils down to one hard truth. I am an accessory to this act of mass murder. I cannot express how remorseful I am for my part in this. I am truly sorry. But this proves my theory is plausible. The disaster that flooded the world was man-made. Vegapunk, it's not your fault. Huh? Then Pluton is... Ooh? Okay. Lord Momonosuke. There were once 3 great ancient weapons. That's... Ooh. I accidentally hit the what is it? The escape key. I thought it was going to hit end stream, which it has happened before. Not like during a stream like this, but when I'm messing around on Streamlabs. It is said that Joy Boy attempted to ensure that they would be passed on to future generations. That begs the question, why? Hasn't the world sunk enough? Such ambiguity makes it hard to brand one side just and the other evil. But the day of answers is coming. You're gonna choke, idiot. Consider this a warning. When that time comes, everyone will fear the notion of a sunken world. The Void Century is still an enigma, but there are those who know what happened in its entirety. Man, I don't know, man. I love Vegapunk cooking. I'm down for Oda to do this as long as he wants. I love this. All right, we're at McDonald's. Everything. You're going to explain everything, Vegapunk. So, Akainu is pissed at the government, I presume, is what's happening here? Wait, hold on. In the Void Century is still an enigma, but there are those who know what happened in its entirety. Everything. You're going to explain everything, Vegapunk. Okay. I am referring to the former members of the Pirate King's crew. Is that my guy? Anytime. Oh, 10 out of 10 automatic. If Laboon's pulling up, immediate 10 out of 10. Pirates know? How? And we see Crocus with the dragon impression. Man, I just love Laboon, man. He's popped into the chapter like a few times now, right? And by the way, I put that Laboon and Topman Workery question having no idea Laboon was in it. I just did it because if you've been following the channel, you know I like talking smack about Topman, and we have a little feud going on, so I just left it there. That's crazy that the stream I remembered to do that, because they've done it before on OPU, and so I wanted to do it here, but that's crazy. Why would pirates know the world's secrets? Isn't that dangerous? Hang on, how is that possible, Stella? How could you have known about me stealing a fragment of the Mother Flame? I cut off my memory synchronization. It should have been impossible. Not only that, but I know for a fact you're a terrible liar and a lousy actor. You were genuinely surprised, right? York, this was all you're doing? So, York, I kind of hate you, York, but I'm really glad you're asking these questions, because this is what I want to know, too. Because if Vegapunk knew that much this whole time, I don't know, man. It's interesting. It kind of reminds me of, like, how the Roger Pirates probably knew about the Flood and, like, the Dawn and all that, and they didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, and so is Vegapunk, was this like a sign that maybe Vegapunk, like, knew that fate was locked in, so he didn't even try messing with it? Does that make sense? Like, I don't know. I'm just gonna keep reading. You got news about Leloucia and took readings? What does that mean? When? The timeline doesn't add up. I agree. You must have known the government's plans. Otherwise, you wouldn't have all done this. You wouldn't have hidden the broadcast snail. Elders, I worked out where the broadcast snail is. Are you certain? Without a doubt. I'm a Vegapunk too. The snail is in the Fabrio stratum. The Iron Giant is guarding it. Nothing's working. This is just a badass panel. Badass panel. I'm sure they knew our entire lost history, so why? I just can't get over how cool of a panel that is with the Giant. I'm ready for the Iron Giant. Remember, he woke up, what was it, chapter 1093 the first time, 1092 for the first time. I've been waiting for him to finally, like, come out here and do something. You know, we've been seeing him kind of trotting around, so this is amazing. I'm sure they knew our entire lost history, so why? Why would they just fade away without telling a soul? Why didn't they act? Ray-san, haven't you had enough booze? You rarely get this wasted. I'm old and washed up now. Just like Vegapunk here, a blabbering old geezer who's already said too much. It's interesting coming from, you know, Rayleigh, who offered to spill the beans before, right? Don't be an ass and take it away from the youngsters. Ooh, he's telling Vegapunk, don't say it. The thrill is theirs to seek now, right, Roger? Those who knew the truth just laughed. Hell of an ending. I love this. Rayleigh passed out. Like, it's so cool that Rayleigh, who already knows the truth and almost, you know, spilled the beans to Luffy, is like, you know, drunk and not really paying attention in this moment. It's like, it's just so cool from Oda. It's like, the guy who knows probably better than anyone, like, doesn't care. It's kind of like I said, it might be a sign that there's no point in telling him because it's going to happen anyway. You know what I mean? Like, going back to Vegapunk not acting, if he knew all that ahead of time. There's a lot to read into here. One, two, how many, people said this was a shorter chapter. It did feel shorter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, so it is a shorter chapter. Wow, 11 pages. Usually they're about 17. There's no double pages either. I mean, really good chapter. Definitely short. But still amazing. Very, very good. Shout out to the 200-ish people here. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Love seeing Laboon. Love seeing Laboon. So I want to talk real quick about this ancient weapon thing, because if you saw my last video, you know, I pretty much argued, like, the Mother Flame is probably more so used as, like, a bomb than powering a weapon. And here he's like, it was used to power an ancient weapon, but the key thing to me in this chapter is that right then we see Momo go like, then Pluton is, and I think that's really interesting, because if you go back to the video I did and I talked about the anti-Pluton and how, like, the government has been trying to recreate an ancient weapon this whole time, right? And so my guess here, so I think what a lot of people are gleaming from this, and I mean, this is the best evidence we've had so far, but I think what a lot of people are going to glean from this is that, you know, oh, the Mother Flame was used to power Uranus, probably, right? That's probably what a lot of people are assuming, that, like, the thing in the sky was Uranus and whatever. But I think Momo is closer to the truth. We know it's not actually Pluton, right? Because Pluton's under Wano right now, but it's an anti-Pluton situation. You know what I mean? Like, they recreated what Pluton is using the Mother Flame. But now, as I kind of mentioned, it's like, well, I'm trying to think of how to explain this the best way. Basically, I think there's a really good shot that Pluton is just the ancient power source with a devil fruit. And that's probably also what the anti-Pluton was, because it's easier to make that power source and then just turn it into a living thing than, you know, than anything else. And so that's where I'm not saying that the Mother Flame was given a devil fruit, but rather, I don't think it's as simple as Uranus, I guess is what I'm getting at. I don't think that's... I mean, it could be, but, you know, Pluton is the one who is said to destroy an island in a single blast, so I'm still big on Pluton or anti-Pluton being involved here. Maybe they still have the anti-Pluton from back in the day. Then they really wouldn't need the blueprints for it that they were seeking, so... but yeah, we're gonna find out something big. But all right, I'm gonna go up and read a couple chats here. Okay, read those. Sir Lancelot. You got a lot of replies, Sir Lancelot. They added that recently, right? Where you can like respond to a super chat in the chat, which I think is pretty cool. You got a lot of replies there, but you said, who would be a good fit for the MC role, excluding Straw Hat crew members? Great question. That's, you know, whatever answer I give here is probably not going to be my final answer. Like, I'll probably think of a better one later. But Kobe. You know, Kobe's not a pirate, so that's the biggest issue, but he is, you know, for doing the right thing. Like, that's his main kind of MO. So I would go with Kobe. If I had to pick a pirate, I don't even know, but Kobe. If I had to pick a pirate, probably Law, because he almost is, at least for like 10 years, he felt almost like a Straw Hat or like a, you know, that kind of tier character. But I saw a couple Kobe's in the chat. Cool. I didn't even see those first. Yeah, I'm glad we're aligned. And Ingrown Toenail said Law. I like that too. We're all on the same wavelength. John Stoops celebrated being a member for 1 month. Can't stay. Can't wait for the VOD. A hype one. Appreciate you, John. This was a pretty dope chapter. It kind of feels like the last like 3 to 5 chapters are like one chapter, kind of like in the sense of like, you know, you could read them all straight through because it's the same series of events. But yeah, it's great chapter, man. Appreciate you for stopping by. Kush Daddy with the $5. Vivi and Lily are Uranus. Emu is using Lily's body to control Uranus and wants Vivi dead because she can take it from him. That would be tough for me because, like, if Lily, like, I guess what I'm thinking is if the original Poseidon never died, then is Shirahoshi Poseidon? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the original has to die, so then I guess for the Vivi part, like, 'cause, like, I can get behind Vivi controlling Uranus, but I also, actually, you know what? I actually would say I'd be very surprised if Lily's Uranus because, or like can control Uranus, however you want to phrase it, because Lily was one of the original 20 kings, and if Joy Boy is trying to make sure the ancient weapons don't fall into the wrong hands and such, it just feels like, even if Lily was like their friend or whatever, it would just seem a little odd, you know, to do that. Now, maybe there's ways around it, like Lily was like a, you know, like a double agent kind of thing, or there's like or Lily infiltrated or something, you know, maybe. But I don't know. I think Lily, I don't know. I don't know. We're going to see how that works. Because I think Vivi being Uranus, I can see because of the Alabasta stuff, right? When she, like, screamed into the air and it started raining. But the Lily part and, like, how that ties together. And also, and I guess in regards to just this overarching thing, because I know a lot of people are going to think it's Uranus. I honestly would be really, really surprised if the government had an actual ancient weapon. That's another part of it. Like I said, the anti-Pluton part, because they were already searching for it, it's like the knockoff version, like a replica. That makes a lot more sense, because again, if the Ancient Kingdom and Joy Boy are trying to keep the ancient weapons on the right side, it's just like, you know, it would be really weird if right away one of the 3 ancient weapons got stolen. You know what I'm saying? And I also feel maybe like a little weird too if this all revolved around one ancient weapon, like the government, because like Pluton can erase something in a single blast, which we saw happen at Lucia, right? And it would just feel weird if like the the big thing that the government has is Uranus, because it's just, I don't know, these are supposed to be the ancient kingdoms things. I feel like the knockoff idea kind of makes more sense, but we'll get into that probably more once I get through the super chats and we can talk about it more in depth. But Sam Fisher with the $10 super chat, appreciate you, Sam. This chapter is only 13 pages, but it's so dense it feels like 19 pages. I agree, because like, that's why right when I stopped, I read it and I was like, it felt a little longer than it was short, but felt longer than it was. It was somewhere in between. But it's insane. Stussy not having a purpose really feels like they're setting up her to be a Straw Hat to me. It's interesting. So I'm kind of glad that there's this Stussy moment in this chapter, because I have a video that should be dropping tomorrow. Nothing here conflicted with it, so I don't have to change anything. But basically in that video, it's not the focus of the video, it's just like a quick mention. I talk about how, Stussy basically, how do I word this? So if Stussy gets on the Sunny and rides with us, what's the point there? Is Stussy gonna go all the way to Elbaf and just be with us for a while? Then it's, like you're saying, it's almost she's a Straw Hat. Or is there some other purpose in the world that Oda needs Stussy for? And the thing I thought of was, well, the person she's a clone based off of is on Sphinx Island. Miss Buckingham Stussy is on Sphinx. Miss Buckingham also said she needs to hear from Vegapunk, she needs Vegapunk to tell Marco the truth about Weevil being Whitebeard's kid and stuff. And so basically my next video is talking about why we might have to go stop at Sphinx Island. We might have to. And I think that would be a great point for Stussy to end off at, is like we leave her at Sphinx, where the old Miss Buckingham Stussy is, and then it's almost, and then imagine if Weevil comes back, and then it's like Stussy and Whitebeard are meeting again, like Miss Buckingham, Stussy, and Whitebeard. It's like, Miss Buckingham and Whitebeard got together, and now their clones, we don't really know what the truth is about Weevil, right? But their clones or whatever might meet in the future and get together too, which would be kind of weird, but I could see Oda doing it, because as we saw with Boa, like, your will, if you get cloned, your will carries over, even regards into, like, who you like, kind of, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I could definitely see where, like, Stussy goes to Sphinx and, like, almost replays what Miss Buckingham Stussy did back then, something like that. But appreciate you, Sam. Kumasi Supremacy with the 3-month membership celebration. How does this chapter affect Laboon's legacy? Oh, it very positively. Very, very. I mean, who knows what Laboon knows, by chilling with Crocus all these years. Laboon might know all sorts of stuff, because remember, Laboon understands human speech, right? It's not just a Rumbar pirate thing. It was just said outright, he understands human speech. So, look, Crocus might be saying ... because even Laboon knows. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Bushido with the €5 super chat. Overall, the chapter was alright, but I'm starting to get bored with all this now, and get to the point, LOL. Also, Sengoku is on a ship heading to Beehive. That is a really good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, he is on a ship. Bushido, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I didn't even notice the ship part, because the ship is just in this little corner to the right under the word bubble. But that actually tells us so much, because he's going somewhere, right? And I don't think he's going to Beehive. I think he's going to Empty Bluffs. Because last time we saw Sengoku, he was talking about the Cross Guild and T-Bone and all that stuff. Also, I think the chapter before that is where we saw Law lose. And he was like getting taken away from Beppo. And remember, Sengoku and Law are closely connected because of Corazon. And so my guess is that he's going to go to Empty Bluffs, probably meet Law on the way there, and who knows what else. I actually did a pre-recorded discussion with Randy Troy about the Cross Guild, and we dove into this topic right here, Sengoku and Cross Guild tying together quite a bit. That'll drop on my second channel tomorrow, probably. So keep an eye out for that, because that was a really good discussion with Randy. Randy's a big Cross Guild guy, so I had to get him for that discussion. So keep an eye out for that. But Jake Fegan, member for 7 months. That deep lore on the Roger Pirates is going to hit. Agreed. And it's either going to hit or it's going to get stopped entirely, because kind of like right here where Rayleigh's like, stop, like, don't take that away from the youngsters, man. Stop talking. You know, I think this is a sign that next chapter the message is done. Like, he's going to get cut off. I mean, because we even saw here they found, or well, the Iron Giants guarding the snail or whatever, right? So yeah, that's coming to an end very soon. Next chapter's got to be Robot versus Gorosei, right? I know that's something I've been waiting for since like day one, and this is probably the 100th time I said it, but I'll say it one more time. We started the arc with 2 holograms fighting, a space monster and a robot. The Gorosei are giant monsters named after planets. They're the 5 elder stars or 5 elder planets, whatever. They are space monsters in a way, at least. And then on the other side, we have the robot. And so I've been waiting for this matchup pretty much all arc. And so we are at the climax right now. Like, we are about... The robot's going to take a stand. And you know how he was apologizing to Joy Boy? He's going to take a stand, make sure that the new Joy Boy can get out of there, and it's going to, like, that's going to make up for that apology or whatever he did wrong, right? He's going to make up for his sins in that regard. So, yeah, I'm big on that. Nick Ilvento, member for 1 month. It is Ilvento, right? I-L. There's 2... I've never been a big fan of how capital I's and lowercase L's look the same in a lot of fonts. Not your fault, Nick, but it makes it really hard to read sometimes. Nick Ilvento, I believe. I need to know what Momo was going to say. Oh, I agree. Because, like I mentioned, and we'll get... Actually, or no, I see a couple more super chats. We're probably going to talk about this a lot more once I get through all the supers, because that's the thing I really want to dive into, because that's... what the Mother Flame is and how it was used and what the government's plans are going forward and all that. Like, that's, you know, that's what we all want. We want the ancient weapon talk. So I'm going to get back into that very soon. But Nick, what I think he was going to say is like, then Pluton is not in Wano and belongs to the government. That's probably what he thought. But again, this goes back to my theory that it's an anti-Pluton type situation. It's a recreation ordeal. And also, and I didn't say this in my video, but I want to say it now while it's on the top, while it's on the mind, is, so going back to my idea in that video that I mentioned where, like, maybe Pluton in the anti-Pluton and potentially what was just used at Lelucia, which I think that actually makes the most sense now that I've had even more time to think about it, where it's like you just add a devil fruit to the power source, like you add a zone fruit to it, because then it makes a living weapon. The weapon is just the power source, but it's just you're adding the living element to kind of use it. And a big connection to that I should have thought of, and I can't believe I didn't, is on Punk Hazard. Remember when Caesar gave Smiley the axolotl fruit, but Smiley was really just a giant poison bomb. Remember, like, he's just like, he was like, the reason he was alive is only because he gave him a zone fruit, right? The axolotl fruit. But he was really just this giant poison bomb thing, and Caesar made him alive as a mechanism to detonate that bomb, essentially, right? Because then Smiley died, he got the fruit reincarnated, and he could kind of replicate it. I think that's what's happening here. I think the Mother Flame was either given a fruit, or I don't know if they have some kind of technology that's similar to that, but then they just have it go and blow itself up, basically, and that's it. You know, and that, again, that might be what Pluton is to a degree. But Pluton, being from the Ancient Kingdom technology and all that, it's probably like a multi-use thing, where you can just keep shooting. Because remember, we know that they need more Mother Flames. Like, they talked about how, like, York needs the original to make more. So you need to keep making more Mother Flames to create these explosions. And so I'm thinking that that's it, is they give it a fruit or whatever, and they just blow that shit up, and then they have to go get more, and it's just like mini bombs, kind of. But the reason they need the original Mother Flame is it's like a carrying of the torch situation. And there's probably a lot you could read into it about devil fruits with that, because just like that cycle of reincarnation kind of thing, like with the Mother Flame. As long as you have the original, it can keep going. For the Devil Fruits, like as long as that original will is in it or whatever, it can keep reincarnating. Like we're definitely starting to meld the worlds of all these different science things, but we're gonna get into that even more here in just a minute. I've said that like 10 times, but I just want to get through the super chats, because then we're gonna dive into ancient weapon talk for a while. But Mr. Bushido with the €5. Funny, Oda was vague on crocodile actions and whereabouts, and we haven't seen Smoker of all people react yet. Smoker attacking Egghead. I'm ready for Smoker to pop up wherever. At this point in Egghead, I'm not sure what he would even do. Maybe he can awaken and give us a smoke screen to get out. I could see something like that, maybe. Because I think, what was it? I think in Dressrosa, when like Nami and Sanji and that group of people, they got separated in Dressrosa. I think the way they escaped from Big Mom was they made like a giant mist cloud like Nami did or whatever. So then the Big Mom, the Mama Shanter couldn't find them or couldn't see them as they were leaving. And I know that's really random, but that just made me think, well, Oda has done smoke screens before to like help the crew get out. And so I could see Smoker doing something like that. He needs to get involved. That's for sure. Like that man... People talk about Akainu not doing anything in Dragon, which they don't, to be clear. Looks like Akainu's ready to do something, but they don't do a whole lot. Well, Smoker does, like, nothing, period. And he's, like, you know, at least Akainu and Dragon, they're, like, way high up positions. Like, whenever they move, crazy stuff happens. Like, Smoker can move without crazy stuff happening, and he still, you know, has been kind of MIA, so... Then Mr. Bushido again. Vegapunk will start a third wave of pirates. I kind of like that, like another great pirate era, but like another one where it's like, hey, the world might come to an end. You need to go stop these guys. So like, you know, the Roger one is like kind of like a fun, adventurous thing. This one's like a more serious, like, hey, the world's gonna end, bro. Please go save us. I bet a lot of people will get motivated by this. Conversely, though, Bushido, we have seen in Mocktown that some people don't take it very seriously. Now, Mocktown is kind of like the place to not take things seriously. But yeah, I guess we're gonna have a varied response. But I agree with you. It is gonna make like it's gonna motivate people more than a lot of things. Knack D with the $7 Canadian dollar super chat. Dak, want to give us your thoughts on how much of this info Akainu already knows, and how this could have been the reason for his duel with Kuzan? That's an interesting thought. I don't think Akainu knew a lot about it when he fought Kuzan, because that was... I guess we don't really know, but I would presume that was towards the start of the time skip, right? Like, probably like the first month or two of it, I would have to imagine. And so, I think Akainu, after he got Fleet Admiral status, probably got privy to some of this information. But now, I don't think he knows everything. Like, I think he knows there are secrets, but he doesn't know what the secrets are. That's kind of how I feel about him. Because you see here, Akainu is, like, really pissed. And he's like, everything. You're gonna explain everything, Vegapunk. Because that tells me that Akainu doesn't know a lot of it. Or it's stuff that Akainu has been wanting to know, or he's been suspicious of, or whatever. So as for the duel with Kuzan... I bet you it's more of a thing where Kuzan knew... Maybe the idea there is, like, Akainu was kind of ignorant of it because he's just, like... You know, he's an absolute justice kind of guy. Like, he just listens to the government no matter what. Like, he doesn't really care. But maybe Kuzan had an inkling in his mind of, like, hey, the governments are really bad. They probably did some terrible things in the past. We need... Like, we can't... You know, we need to figure out what we're doing here. And so I guess the idea there is, like, maybe Kuzan knew more... back in the day than Akainu did, but now Akainu, being in the position he's in, he's probably like, you know, he's getting really pissed because his employers aren't who he thought they were. But maybe Kuzan knew they were these guys all along. Not knew specifically about the flooding, but knew like, these guys are bad news. We need to stop them. And Akainu probably didn't want to do that, and that's why Oda had him win and take over. And so now we're seeing the kind of other side of that, where Akainu's like what? This isn't what I signed up for, kind of deal. Bad rap sample with the $2 super chat. The real Void Century is Vegapunk's whole speech. That's hilarious. And Oda's breaks following the speeches, right? Because we've had quite a few, and while totally understandable, we also had like the Toriyama break like right towards the beginning of all this. And like I said, we started this like, let's see, the robot woke up at the end of chapter 1092, I think. And so now we're finally getting him involved 24 chapters later. I mean, I know he's been slowly getting up, but like, dang. It does feel like a Void Century a little bit. Couple more. Mr. Bushido with the €5 super chat. I think we are returning to Zoe, who shows up to save the crew and meet his former friend, the Giant. I think Stussy freeing Kaku means she goes with him or dies. I doubt we go to Zoe again, because we've already been there. You know, I don't know. I mean, Zoe coming to us is potentially an option, but we went to Zoe, or, you know, we went and climbed Zunisha during that arc, and then Zunisha pulled up in Wano, and then to bring Zunisha again, I think would be overkill currently. But Zunisha's obviously going to be relevant again. I mean, Zunisha needs to just be ready to go break the walls at Wano. You know, I think Zunisha's probably waiting idly by for that, but, you said Stussy freeing Kaku means she goes with him or dies. See, for me, Kaku isn't in trouble with CP0, but Stussy will be. And so I think Kaku is gonna go, he's probably gonna go back to the government, because I don't know what else he's gonna do. He's not in trouble. Like, maybe he can bide his time and make a decision later. But I think Stussy's got to go somewhere else. You know, if Stussy goes back to CP0, she's just gonna die. Like, she's gonna get punished or whatever, right, for betraying. So I don't know. I'm ready to see where Stussy goes for sure. Kuya Pixels. Hopefully the giant robot doesn't get low diffed. How big of a letdown would that be? If the robot gets cut in half by Nustro, like in the first slice, and they find the Den Mushi or whatever, that would be such a letdown. After 24, well, I mean, we saw the robot like in the first 3 or 4 chapters of the arc, so to wait all that time, know that it's some kind of friend of Joy Boy's or whatever, and then to have him just get low diff, that would be such a letdown. I hope what happens is the robot can hurt the Gorosei permanently. Like, they can use the, like, well, we kind of already know that the robot uses the ancient power source, which can create its own sun, right? And so it's like, it's better than the Mother Flame. And I'm betting that, you know, that, like, the robot's probably about to bust out, like, a special kind of laser that can actually hurt the Gorosei. Like, we saw Frankie shoot a laser through Saturn earlier in the arc, but it, you know, he just healed or whatever. I bet you we're going to see something similar happen, but it's going to actually leave permanent damage. Not that he's going to kill a Gorosei. I think that would be a lot, but I think he's going to hurt them permanently, and it's going to be like a, oh, that's what it takes to hurt these guys kind of deal. Like, we need something like that. And so it gives us at least the start of the story of how we defeat them, I suppose. Bad rap sample. I don't know who stole the flame. MF. I wish I could just say it, but YouTube really doesn't like the F word. But MFer, is you serious? Yeah, I agree. You know, I need to know what's going on with the series of events here, with Vegapunk knowing things and making the message ahead of time, and now he's communicating it. Like, how you know, how, like, I know, like, you go back to the start of the arc when he said, like, Dragon, I think I'm gonna die today. So obviously Vegapunk can, like, kind of tell the future, not like Shiarly type deal, but just like he's smart enough to know what the series of events are gonna be coming up. And man, I don't know, like, is it not really a pre-recorded message? That's kind of what I'm starting to wonder. Like, is this Vegapunk's brain, you know, up in Punk Records, like, making this thing happen? Like, are these holograms of everyone, and they're just making a, you know what I'm saying? Is it like an AI created video? That's a great, you know, in this day and age, that's a great parallel to it. Is it just like Vegapunk's brain is making a message as it goes on of like what would be like what would be good to say in this situation, and then his brain is just saying it automatically? because also aren't the only Vegapunks that are up there in this room with Vegapunk, like in the recording, aren't they the ones that are already dead, or that we think are dead? I mean, I guess we can presume. Huh. I don't know. I gotta think more about it. But yeah, I don't know. So one thing, Adam Tree, I'm gonna get to your super chat next, but I just noticed something on the page where we see Vivi's like missing poster. It's not a bounty poster, I guess, but like her missing thing, the thing you would put on the side of a milk carton like 20 years ago. Then we see this picture of Cobra, and like there's a casket and stuff. So above that, I've brought this up in a few videos, and I just want to say it again now, because now that we have some of this stuff going on, like if you look above Cobra's portrait on the wall, you can see these 3 little clouds with like a circle that has like a mustache thing. If you get like, it's honestly kind of hard to I don't know how to describe it, but it's right above Cobra's picture. You see like the jackal and the falcon on each side of it, and then in the middle is this symbol. So in my original Ancient Weapons video, or well, not my original Ancient Weapons video, my original Uranus video or Pluton video, I can't remember which one, it's been a long time. But I brought up how in this crypt down here in Alabasta, which you can see in the manga in chapter like 150 or something, I can't remember what it is, but there's this thing at the top here that I think symbolizes Uranus, and then there's something to the bottom left and bottom right that I think represent the other 2 ancient weapons. And I know it sounds kind of harebrained without the rest of the evidence, because Oda didn't draw the other portraits on the left and right, but you can see them in the Alabasta arc more. But Oda kept the same symbol above Cobra that was there back whenever we went into the crypt where the poneglyph was. So this is the poneglyph crypt that we're in right now, I would presume. Or at least a replica of it, but I'm fairly certain it's the poneglyph crypt in Alabasta. And so I think the symbol above him is a symbol for Uranus. And so going back to the idea from earlier about, like, does Lily or Vivi control Uranus? Is it Uranus above Leloucia and all that? So the biggest thing with me for Uranus is, I think like a lot of the ancient weapons, Uranus is going to be a living thing, right? Even Pluton, that's supposed to be a ship, I think is going to be a living thing. And so as far as like the idea that Vegapunk powered an ancient weapon, like I said, I think giving that power source a devil fruit, and then, you know, then it detonates kind of like Smiley at Punk Hazard makes a lot of sense. I guess all I'm saying here is that, you know, this symbol up here probably, I think it does mean Uranus. I just dropped my camera cover. I think it does mean Uranus, and it could mean that Lily and Vivi tie to it. But I also think it means that the weapon over Leloucia probably isn't the real Uranus. Like, it's, again, going back to that knockoff version. Because if the real Uranus is just a straight up living thing, like a creature that hatched from an egg, like Roger's egg, perhaps, then you wouldn't like give it a power source like a robot, like a machine, right? Like you'd have to create something. So going back to just like that replica idea, I'm thinking the real Uranus is still out there and probably like reincarnating, probably Roger's egg or whatever. But whatever was used at Leloucia is, you know, a replica or whatever. Like, I don't know. The blueprints in Enies Lobby to me are just everything. But all right, I'm gonna get to the last couple supers, and then I'll go on whatever tangent I want, because obviously I keep trying to talk about the ancient weapons like at any cost. Adam Tree said, haven't read yet, so I'll be back later. Like the stream. Appreciate you, Adam Tree. Adam, I got a video coming out, and probably, let's say in July to be safe, about you, the Adam Tree, that I think you guys are really gonna like. I'm just trying to get that out before we get to Elbaf, mainly, because once we find out about the Adam Tree, you know, all bets are off as far as Adam Tree theories. But JR Writer 203 with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Any guess on the cliffhanger Vegapunk's message gets cut off at? I'm thinking it might be cut off. I'm thinking it might get cut right before learning the Ancient Kingdom's name. JR, I 1000% agree with you. In fact, now that we have this setup here, where Rayleigh's like kind of saying, Vegapunk, stop talking, man. But Vegapunk has given us a lot of information. I think we're setting up for exactly what you're saying, where he's going to get cut off right before he says the name. reliving the Ohara moment, right, where Clover got shot right before he said it. But the twist for me that I really, really want to add in there is that Vegapunk gets cut off, but then Robin finishes it and says the name. Because going back to what Rayleigh says, where he's like, Vegapunk, don't be an ass, and take it away from the youngsters. And the thrill is theirs to seek now. Let Robin have the thrill of revealing the Ancient Kingdom name. Vegapunk does not need to take that from Clover. Vegapunk has done enough. Vegapunk, I saw a post on Reddit earlier. I didn't read it because it had spoilers, but I saw the title of it. And I agreed with it so much that I stored it in the memory bank, even though I didn't read the post. But it was like, Vegapunk is one of the few characters who had a lot of hype and exceeded the hype. Now, I know some people have some, reservations about Vegapunk so far and his maybe morality or just certain things about his character. But for me, Vegapunk has far surpassed whatever I hoped of him. I'm doing a Kuma analysis video and a Vegapunk analysis video once Egghead is over, because those two characters have just gone so far past, I wouldn't even say expectations, because a lot of us expected Kuma to have a sad backstory, but just regardless, these characters have just shined through this arc like crazy. But with that being said, Vegapunk does not need to finish this. He's done enough. He's good. Right, we're all good. He might even have more stuff to do in the future, because quite honestly, Oda doesn't like killing off his characters. Sanji's carrying what is basically a corpse right now, and that's just like weird. Not saying Vegapunk's 100% coming back, but I wouldn't be shocked. But there's also the satellites that can fill the gap for him. Punk Records seems to still be active, so however that works. So basically, Vegapunk can still have an impact on the story, and he's already had a massive one as it is. Let Robin have this moment, though, right? Like, Rayleigh is saying exactly what I believe. Like, don't take it away from them. That's their thrill to have. Robin's job is to reveal the Void Century, right? She is meant to uncover that and help reveal it to the world. That's what Clover wanted to do. That's obviously what Vegapunk's trying to do, who emulates Clover in a lot of ways. But Robin's the one who needs to actually do that, right? The Flood stuff, that's cool to know. All that stuff's important, but the hardcore Void Century stuff, like the Ancient Kingdom's name, what the actual conflict was, how Emu won exactly, like Robin's got to cook. So I think that's where we're headed. So yeah, I'm with you, JR. That he's gonna get cut off right before that. And then Friend Harper with the $10 super chat. Where does additional water come from that is causing the whole world to sink? IRL, we're having the polar ice caps to explain sea level rise. Maybe the ancient weapons turn things into the sea. Yo, great thoughts, Friend Harper. So, I completely agree with you, because when we say that the world increased by 200 meters from the Void Century till now, I think a lot of people think like, oh, they must have been firing crazy weapons into the ocean like 200 times, right? Excuse me. By the time, you guys should know by now, once I get into like an hour into the stream, the hiccups just start coming. So a lot of people point to it being like the weapon used a bunch of times, because that's what we saw already, right? Like the Mother Flame was used on the Lucia in whatever ancient weapon fashion that Vegapunk's talking about, but it was used there to create a hole, and it raised it 1 meter. So then we have to think, okay, so are they creating 200 of those holes? Are they creating a hole that's 200 times as big? Like, what did they do back then that's going to make that rise? And so, Friend Harper, you brought up a great idea. I mentioned that in my last video. And actually, I mentioned that in my video, Friend Harper, and my video got, like, tagged as, like, a climate change video. Like, I got, like, the context ad, like you see on Twitter sometimes. Because, like, they do that for, like, semi-controversial subjects, which, like, I mean, personally, climate change isn't... I mean, it's controversial in terms of it's bad and we need to fix it. I don't think it's controversial in terms of, like, the truth of it. And especially in regards to how I was speaking about it. Because I said basically what you said. Like, the polar ice caps are melting, land ice is melting, sea levels rising. That's climate change in a nutshell. And I got tagged or whatever. But regardless, I agree with you. And I have two kind of, like, tie-ins, I think, that are really important to consider. So... as far as the stuff you're saying with the polar ice cap, so we know that the North and South Pole are really cold in One Piece. We also know there's something called the Ice Continent. That's where Chinjao left his treasure that Garp was, trying to get or whatever, through their altercation. And so we know there are large bodies of ice in the One Piece world, and typically speaking, the One Piece world's crazy, so, you know, Oda can deviate, but in the One Piece world, you know, like, if I would presume that, like, the North and South Pole are cold because of the same reason they're cold in our world, you know, like, they don't get a lot of direct sunlight or whatever, like, they're not directly facing the sun that often, or, so, you know, some of them are night, like 6 months of the year or whatever, right? Whatever it is. So I'm presuming it's the same thing, but I think a lot of people have probably heard about the pole shift theory before. And so then if you were to shift the poles and have the ice caps on the equator, then they would start melting, right? And so that could be the first way that they increase the sea level, is they flip the planet, and so that the North and South Pole are now on the equator, and what was on the equator are now the North and South Pole, so they start melting, thus we have the sea level rise, and boom. I think that's very possible. But the other thing that they could do to increase the sea level massively is water displacement, I guess I would say. Which that's kind of what the holes at Lucia and Enies Lobby do, because, like, it's just creating, like, a empty space in the ocean to kind of push the water out. But what about the red line, right? What if the red line got, like, we know the red line existed before the Void Century, but what if it was added onto, expanded, whatever, to displace even more water, and that's how they rose, right? I mean, if you just make the red line, like, if the red line before the Void Century was, like, big enough to displace, like, 100 meters, then if you just triple it in size, I guess, because you need 200 more meters, whatever it is, then it would displace even more water, right? Or just if the red line was never there and they put it there, I mean, that would, you know, there you go. So I think one of those two, or a combination thereof, honestly, is very likely. Because I kind of agree. It's like, where does all this water come from? Like, because we only know of one hole in the ocean from the Void Century, which is Enies Lobby, which we don't even really know is that old. I think it's just a safe assumption at this point, because we know it's at least 52 years old because of Oimo and Kashi, and then you think about how the government has a base there, and base, like, in the triangle around it. It's like, obviously it's been there for a long ass time. So since we only have one hole in the ocean from the past to speak of, it doesn't seem like they just put holes everywhere to make the sea level rise. They did something else to make that happen. And so, yeah, I think polar ice caps is a great answer, or red line growth, I guess you could say. And then Trevor Verges, the thumbnail artist of the channel. Appreciate you, my man. Whenever you guys see those, well, I would say those, I was gonna say those great thumbnails, but I get some comments that people don't like. They call them clickbaity or whatever, which I feel like I'm pretty much on par with a lot of other people. But if you like the art on the thumbnails, this is the guy who does them. So appreciate you, Trevor. I think you recorded just before the Straw Hats arrived. When they found Vegapunk stuck in the giant, he was setting the message up, knew he would die that day, etc. I like that, Trevor. That's actually really smart. That's a genius call. That the reason he was in the giant was to set up the message. Now, I guess the one issue I would say, and it's not even like a total issue, it's just like I would want to understand the logistics of this better. Is like, so he had to record the message somewhere else, right? Like, unless there's enough room in that giant, like, he was the only one in the giant when we went there, so, like, he couldn't have been recording it at that point. He could have been storing the Den Den Mushi in there, or, you know, like, loading the message into the Den Den Mushi. I don't really, you know, I don't know if you upload it like I upload a video on YouTube. I don't know if that's, like, how it works, but I guess just, like, the logistics, like, they recorded this in a different room, it looks like, right? Like, they're up in, like, the Fabrio stratum, so they had to record it and then go upload it. And I guess just the logistics, I'm just struggling with that part of it. But I like the idea that that's why he was in the robot, though. That's super genius. Bare minimum, he was putting the Den Den Mushi in there whenever we started the arc. That I love that. Trevor, genius call. Actually, hold on, wait. I gotta use this more often.
Someone cooked here.
Yeah, I gotta use it. Wait, hold on.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said, let him cook.
Yeah, that was good. I gotta use my stream deck more often. You guys gotta yell at me if I mess up. Vex, I'm gonna get to your chat in just a second. NACD, I saw you said W stream, love you, dude. I assume you're leaving, so NACD, appreciate you for sliding in. and just being a good, great member of the Discord. I always see you in there, so appreciate you coming to the streams too. And if you guys want to join the Discord, you definitely should, because we are going to be talking about all sorts of stuff probably in regards to this chapter and what we got cooking going forward for sure. I already see I got some messages on Discord, so I know I'm going to be heading there in a minute. But Sexy Vexy from Texy with the 12-month membership message. I appreciate you. Happy 1 year. Like these streams. Sub to Redacted. Yes, sir. Please, everyone. If you haven't liked the stream, please do, because it really does make a massive difference in how the VOD performs, because my last reaction, I think, is like my most watched reaction ever, which is super exciting for me. I mean, I still got like 200 plus people here. Thank you guys. That's amazing. It's crazy for me seeing the numbers go up for these, because I love doing the streams, and definitely makes you want to do more. So appreciate you guys for coming here. And also, yeah, sub to Redacted too, because like I said, I have a great discussion with Randy Troy dropping tomorrow on that channel. And I know I've said I'm a broken record so many times that I'm a broken record about saying I'm a broken record, but I also have the Devil Fruits at God Valley video, the one in the chest, that's actually coming. I actually have a new kind of recording style I'm trying out. I bought some new equipment, and hopefully you guys like it. I'm going to be messing around a little bit. I'm taking some styles from that I've seen from other like NBA YouTubers and some other kind of channels that I really like that were kind of chill. And I'm gonna mess around. So you guys should definitely go sub to my second channel if you guys you know, want some extra content, because I'm gonna start putting more over there, because it's a little bit easier to produce a video if I'm on camera for it, and you know, we're working on it. Tristan Beeman or Bierman? Bierman. Okay, couldn't see the R. Tristan Bierman with the $5. This says it's your first super chat ever. Tristan, I appreciate you. What if Emu and the world government dropped Tequila Wolf into the ocean to displace the water / second grade cleansing? That would make the Tequila Wolf story more tragic. Now that's actually really interesting. That is really interesting, because so dropping Tequila Wolf into the ocean, I think that's a good idea to start with. However, since it has like the really tall arches, so like ships can go under, it wouldn't have that much displacement, I feel like. Like, there would be some, but I don't think it would be quite as much as like the red line is, for example, right? Like if Tequila Wolf was like a solid wall structure, then yes, then it would. But if it just falls, it wouldn't be a lot. But your idea gave me a really crazy idea where, like, what if Tequila Wolf is just like, I don't even know what to call it, like the framework, the outline of a new redline type idea. And so basically, what if whenever they want to start the flood, they're somehow able to just like fill in all the gaps of Tequila Wolf? Like I'm trying to think of how this could work. I mean, like, Luffy's fruit's always an option because he can stretch things. So like, imagine Luffy were to like stretch Tequila Wolf straight downward so it took up all that space. Then that would displace a ton, because they would basically be making Tequila Wolf into a new wall, essentially, right? Like a red line, you know, version 2, basically. Or you, I mean, like, I was gonna say Pika's fruit, but Pika can only move through stone, right? He doesn't like produce more. Like, he can like reassemble it, right? Like, he doesn't produce it. Somebody who can fill in that gap. That's all I'm saying. Or another idea, I guess, is, you know, in Egghead, we've kind of learned that, like, holograms are kind of real, or they can be real, or, like, you can get photonic gloves to make them real and, like, hit them. What if, like, there's technology where they're able to, like, make, like, a fake, you know, fill-in thing under the red line, or under Tequila Wolf. And maybe Tequila Wolf is because Tequila Wolf is way taller than sea level. And so what if it's, like, the perfect height to, like, you know, so if they were to fill in everything under Tequila Wolf, it would make it so, like, Tequila Wolf is right at sea level then. I can definitely see something, Tristan. You're cooking. I like where your head's at, for sure. And then Nico, I'm not sure how to pronounce it because there's 2 C's, but appreciate you for the £2 super chat, I think. I don't see any message attached. If you meant to attach a message, Nico, go ahead and just type it, because I think I'm caught up now. So we're just going to be chatting here for a little bit about whatever you guys want to, really. Oh, okay, you just did. I think the Gorosei are Seraphim of ancient times. I like that idea. I've heard it before. Well, I'll read the rest of the message first. Think about the stars on the eyes of the Seraphim. Also, high chance Blackbeard might take control of the Seraphim. He will be the new Emu. So, beyond 1,000%, or 1,000% believe you. I don't even know what I was going to say originally. I'm blanking, but I 100% agree that Blackbeard's going to get the Seraphim. I've been saying that since day one, and anytime someone says it, I just want to go shake your hand and say thank you, because to me, that would be the best thing for the story. Like, Blackbeard, now that Katarina Devon can turn into Saturn, they can control the Seraphim, presumably. And so there's that layer of it. The Seraphim have devil fruits that Blackbeard wants. Bare minimum Boa's fruit, because we know he went for it, right? But he also wanted Moria on his crew, and there's S-Bat, or S-Gecko. I prefer S-Gecko, but we'll see what it really is. And we don't know if he has the Shadow Fruit yet, but it's a Paramecia, so I feel like that's pretty safe assumption. S-Bat or S-Gecko, whatever, is going to have that fruit. And so basically there's ways that he can get powers he wanted, without killing the people, right? So I 100% agree with you, Nico. Then about the Gorosei being Seraphim of ancient times, that part's kind of tough because, like, I think the demonic beings that they can turn into, that because they don't seem to have devil fruits, right? That I think is very telling in, like, I don't think they're just like robots or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they were like just made in a lab. I think they were, at least the human versions we're seeing were probably real people, but then the demonic forms that they have that don't seem to be devil fruits but are something else, that could be a Seraphim type thing, because the Seraphim have devil fruits like baked into them with the green blood, right? They don't, because, like, I gotta think of how to describe this. Like, they do have devil fruit powers, but they don't have devil fruits. You know what I mean? Like if you took out the green blood from the Seraphim, which you could probably do, I am no expert at all, but I presume you could, then they probably wouldn't have devil fruit powers anymore, because they didn't eat the original fruit, right? It's just because they have that certain kind of blood running through them, and we've seen it like in their arm. If you're able to swap out their blood with normal blood, they probably wouldn't have it anymore. And so tying it back to the Gorosei idea, if the Gorosei don't have devil fruits but have devil fruit powers or devil fruit like powers, then I think there's an interplay there between the two groups where, like, they were given devil fruit powers without eating the fruits somehow. So I guess I half agree with you. There's definitely some interplay. I like how you brought up the stars in their eyes. That's definitely like a sign of, like, because the Seraphim were called like the ultimate beings, right? Or something like that. So the Gorosei being these, like, potentially immortal beings that have these really strong zone-esque powers, I like that tie-in there. And I guess maybe, like, one other caveat to throw in on top of that is going back to my idea, that Pluton and the anti-Pluton and maybe what was over Lelucia is just a power source with a fruit added to it. I wonder if the Gorosei could be something like that also, where, like, they were like, it's going to sound crazy. I haven't thought about this theory at all before, so I'm just spitballing, but, like, what if you took, like, pure darkness or like a shadow, right? Someone's shadow, and gave that a devil fruit. Because you can do that with a zone. You can give inanimate objects a zone fruit. And they obviously all have zone-esque powers. They weren't said to have actual fruits, but they're very close to it, right? So what if they were like... What if the Gorosei are just their shadows with the fruits added to them or something? And that's why they're sort of the Seraphim, is like they don't actually have fruits because it's their shadows that do, not them. And maybe that's like a weird interplay there. I don't know. Either way, yeah, I definitely think there's something going on with some devil fruit intimate knowledge was involved in giving the Gorosei their powers, you know, because like Vegapunk kind of like hacked the whole system. Not like he hasn't perfected it, but he can recreate zones very close to the original. He can duplicate paramecia. So he's getting really close to kind of cracking the code, and I think back in the day, they probably did that and got to the Gorosei somehow. Like, Emu cracked the code and made them. Now, I don't know. I say made them loosely. I don't think they were made, like, in a test tube, but good ideas nonetheless, for sure. Friend Harper with the $10 super chat again. Thank you, Harper. I appreciate you. Ancient weapon idea. Their central purpose is to keep the seas free. Pluton could be Joy Boy's ship, has Wano on top of it. Neptune controlling the Sea Kings. Uranus to smite evil. Bad guys took Uranus. I think the keeping the seas free, I think that's interesting. Like, the one issue which Momo kind of pointed to this chapter is like you said, Uranus to smite evil. The bad guys took Uranus. Like, Pluton is the weapon that can destroy an island in a single blast, and it's like, oh, well, can all the ancient weapons do that? Like, maybe, but Poseidon can't do anything close to that, right? Poseidon is very powerful and very useful in her own way, but it's not the same as destroying an island in a single blast, right? And so going back to just like Uranus and Pluton debate of like what was over Lucia and whatever, I think it would be a little weird if Pluton is something that can blow islands in a single blast and Uranus is also the same, because it's like, well, what's their specialty? And I'm of the mind that, you know, Pluton is the destructive force and Uranus is probably like the weather force, right? So going back to your point about keeping the seas free, I think you could be right about that, but for Uranus, I think it would be easier to say like that keeps the weather free so that people can sail easier, right? Like, that was one of Vegapunk's goals, was controlling the weather, and he even said if he had more resources, he could control the weather everywhere. And so I think that's what Uranus was. And, you know, and the tricky thing here is we've only heard Uranus mentioned one time, you know? And so I think it's easy to look at, like, the Lucia incident and say, well, it was in the sky and it rained down, so it, you know, it must be the god of the sky. Well, Pluton is the god of the underworld, and I think it's a mole and all those things, of course. But, like, you probably could theoretically get Pluton into the sky. You know what I mean? Like, if you put Pluton on a sky cloud and moved it over, it would also be a flying thing. Not saying that I expect that to happen commonly, but all I'm saying is that since Pluton was already said to be destructive, the government were going after the blueprints for the anti-Pluton, which is probably like another Pluton or something close to it. My guess is it's actually Zunisha, which if you haven't seen the video, that probably sounds super duper crazy. But I think Zunisha was the original anti-Pluton, and that's why it's been wandering for like 1,000 years, has like been trying to stay away from the government. But yeah, so I think you could be right. Like, it's definitely like the ancient weapons are involved in helping people travel, right? That's like the one for sure takeaway for me, because, well, we already know Pluton was said to be a ship. I think it could be a mole that makes tunnels and all that. So there you go. Like, that helps you travel underground. Poseidon is supposed to pull the Noah, right? Or have the Sea Kings pull the Noah. So then you have the sea travel element. And then Uranus should be the sky travel element, which that can occur by having just a giant flying thing, like a giant dragon, like, you know, Momo or Kaido, I guess, or whatever. Or you could have a giant, like, sky cloud. Parvision had a really good video. It was about Pluton, but it was about clouds, about the Emperor cloud. And I actually edited that video for him. And I always felt like that was like a good Uranus connection, like the cloud stuff. So yeah, I guess end point, I guess, is I agree with you that it probably helps people, or keeps the seas free in the sense of helps people travel, but I doubt that Uranus is like just like a pure weapon. You know what I mean? Like, I doubt that seems to be Pluton's purpose, or most directly the anti-Pluton. But Shiny Charizard with the $5. Did Vegapunk have S-Bear remove his memories about knowing York stole the flame and world government's plans? York calls him a lousy liar and actor. That's really smart. Hold on, wait. Hold on.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him cook.
Yeah, I like that, because we already have the, you know, the, like, initial version of this with Kuma ejecting his memories out and in Vegapunk like being like, wait, is this, you know, what is this? Now, I guess the one caveat, Shiny Charizard, is I believe when Kuma's memories were pulled out, he said that it was a copy, like he didn't lose the originals, right? So then if S-Bear did come and do that, he should be keeping the originals, so when he went and like synchronized his brain later, then he would have still had that information to upload. But the reason I still like this idea is it, like, I mean, I doubt this is the case, but maybe like Awakening, if S-Bear somehow awakened his powers, which I doubt, or even Kuma, potentially, which I also doubt, maybe that would have a factor. But the other thing is, you know, Vegapunk already cut his head off, right? And separated his brain into a different place. What's stopping him from just cutting out, like, a specific part of his brain? If he already has the methodology to, like, affect his brain in a certain way, could he go, like, do this recording, erase it from his mind, and then, you know, like, just cut it out and then go back? I mean, I don't know. He's gonna do something crazy. You know, like that. I don't think it's gonna be as simple as, like, I didn't go and synchronize my brain for 2 weeks. You know, like, I doubt, because they would have noticed. That would be like almost a plot hole at that point. But I like where you're going with it, where, like, S-Bear maybe removed it, and there's some shenanigans there with how, you know, Vegapunk, like, it could be a thing where S-Bear removed it, Vegapunk went and, like, maybe cut that part out, or if he had Pudding's powers at his disposal, that would answer it, but he obviously doesn't because Blackbeard took it, so I don't know. But and then maybe, like, after he synchronized his brain with Punk Records, he got the memories back, so he remembered, and he just kind of kept the chain going. Either way, I like where your head's at for sure. Something like that happened, guaranteed. All right, I think I'm actually caught up now, right? I believe so. Kuya, you said all hail King Blackbeard and he'll kill Shanks. I agree. I agree with both statements. Shanks is a dead man walking right now. Lol Sauce, I hope Emu is a hot chick so I can use the "oh no, she's hot" meme. That's hilarious. That's going to get used a lot if Emu does end up being a hot chick. Which you know, I know the Lily theories, like Emu is Lily, is a very popular idea. But honestly, I feel like it's so popular now that Oda's not going to do it. You know what I mean? It's like so many people have said it, and now it almost seems kind of telegraphed, but because it's like Lily didn't make it home, and we have like Emu looking at the painting. It's almost telegraphed at this point. So I'm really hoping it's more of a thing where he just, like, where Lily's like his greatest enemy. You know what I mean? Like it's like, why would a war rage on in total secrecy? It's like he's looking at Lily like, no one would even know about this if it wasn't for you. You know what I'm saying? So I hope it's not Lily, but it being another hot chick would be cool. I guess that it's gonna just be a guy. I know it sounds kind of anticlimactic, and a lot of people want it to be a hot chick. But I think Stelly is the best parallel for Emu currently, where Stelly, you know, was like not even a true noble, got adopted into it, wanted to sit on the throne, all that stuff. I've talked about this a million times, so I'm not going to rehash it entirely, but I think Stelly is the best Emu parallel currently, because that's someone who, he even, like, killed his parents to become king, right? Like, he got adopted, and then, yeah, right, he killed his dad, Outlook, right? Every time I hear that guy's name, all I can think about is sending emails. But I think he killed his parents to become king, and we even saw Stelly, like, start gawking at Vivi's poster, her missing poster, and he has a wife, and his wife was, like, mad about it. So I guess all I'm saying is it's like, I think what's going on here is it's just Emu. I wouldn't be surprised if Emu did love Lily. But if that was the case, then I definitely don't think Emu is Lily. I think the most likely thing is, like, Emu probably loved Lily, but then Lily, like, betrayed him or betrayed the government, and it's just, like, stung him ever since because, like, his love hurt him. Now, Lily probably didn't reciprocate the love, you know what I'm saying? This would be like if if Luffy stabbed Boa in the back. That's more how I view it. You know, like Boa's obsessed about Luffy and Luffy knows it, and then if Luffy did something really bad to hurt Boa, or like hurt her family or something, then I think that's kind of where this is. That's how I see it. Is Imu is just because Imu was already said to be a king from back in the day, right? It's like a different person who was around since the beginning. So I think when we see Imu, it's gonna be that person, the original Nerona Imu from however long ago, 900 years ago, but controlled by an entity. That's where I'm at on it. And so this Lily thing is probably more of like a love-hate relationship, quite literally, and not necessarily being Lily. But also, I mean, also in conjunction with that, we also know that Lily is the one who was responsible for scattering the poneglyphs. Now, is that the pawpaw fruit theory? Did she like actually send the stones around the world, or did she just help somebody come and steal them? You know, we don't really know the logistics of that, but the fact that Lily did that makes me even kind of wonder why Imu would want that. Like, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. You know, it almost just seems too telegraphed, I guess, to be Lily, but we'll see. Atlas 100 with the 5. Hold on, I gotta look this up. What's CHF? Hold on, don't tell me. I'm gonna look it up. Swiss francs. Very cool. Thank you for the 5. They are francs, right? That's just what they're called. Whenever I looked it up, it said Swiss francs, but it says CHF, and I don't know what the CH is, but the francs. It would be hilarious if Imu's appearance is that he always looks like that. Like, there's no reveal to the real face, because that's his actual face. All right, that's my favorite idea. I hope Imu is just... This is actually what Imu looks like. The entire race of Nerona family, you know, whatever island they're from, all those people just look like that. That would actually be kind of funny. I'm sure Imu does have a face, but at this point, like with how well lit this room is here in the flower room, like based off how bright everything else is, it's kind of crazy that Imu's still silhouetted. But Oda's probably saving that reveal for a long time, if I had to guess. Like, I don't think we're gonna get it here in this thing, because it doesn't seem like Vegapunk's even talking about Imu in this speech, which I think is good for the story. Like, save Imu for later. We learned a lot about the Gorosei this arc. Let's save Imu reveal stuff for later. But it is kind of funny how it's just like, this might just be what Imu looks like at this point, you know? Ethan, you said, I saw a theory where Imu loved Lily, or Imu loved Lily and Lily loved Joy Boy. I could see something like that. I guess I could see that. Like, I guess the semi-issue there is then the parallel should be that, like, Vivi and Luffy should fall in love, which, like, I doubt is going to happen at this point. It's possible, but Oda's not much of a shipper in general, and we have one person who already loves Luffy a lot, so it's kind of like, you know, it seems like that's kind of telegraphed, but I can definitely see Imu loving Lily. I think that's almost like a for sure. Probably loved Lily, got betrayed by Lily, and has just had scorn for the entire Earth ever since, you know? The Abyss, please don't spam. It's gonna make me not want to read it. Lucky Beetle, he said, final arc in the final saga will reveal Imu's face. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it'll be quite that late. Like, because the final arc, if we're talking the final arc, that's like the war. You know, that's like Imu and Joy Boy Luffy are facing off. Blackbeard, I don't know if Blackbeard's defeated or if he's... at this point, Blackbeard will either be defeated or the #1 threat, you know what I mean? And that might be a little too late to reveal it, because I think we would kind of want to know a little bit of the backdrop going into it. But I do think it's going to be a late game thing. Like, the earliest I could see is maybe Elbaf, if we're learning about some of the Void Century and you know, whatever Saul figured out from the stuff at Ohara and all that kind of stuff. And maybe that's where some Emu lore comes out. And then we can maybe get Emu's face then, because maybe there's like a sketch of it from like a history book somewhere. That's like the earliest I could imagine. But I'll say this much. We better get Rox's face sometime soon. Like, bruh, you know, how, like, we went to God Valley and we still haven't seen Rox's face. We kind of know what he looks like because of Oda's silhouettes, but as we saw with Kaido and Big Mom, he can change designs quite a bit after, like, the initial first version of it. So I'm ready to see Rox. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want. David, you said I'm ready for Discord. You got some memes for me, my man? I hope so. David's got the best memes in the business. Lucky Beetle, you said thoughts on Lafitte. I think Lafitte... I still have hope that Lafitte is here at Egghead right now. Because, going back to the Seraphim idea, someone's got to try getting the Seraphim, like, in their control, right? Basically, like, the government might just end up with them and have them, and, I mean, that's fine. But if Blackbeard's going to get them... Excuse me, if Blackbeard's going to get them, now would be kind of the time to sneak out with them. Like, you know, I don't know. Because Lafitte can, like, hypnotize people, right? And so, sure, the Seraphim have authority chips, but if you hypnotize the Seraphim, does the hypnotism take priority, or do the authority chips take priority? I genuinely don't know the answer. So that's what I'm hoping for. Now, the issue with that is, you know, we have the Frontier Dome down now. The Seraphim have fallen down to the bottom. I don't know how that would... Yeah, I don't know how the logistics work. Lafitte's a man of miracles, so he could make it work, but he's got to be somewhere. I'm waiting. Shiny Charizard, didn't Emu not know Lily truly betrayed him until she was a D-clan member from Cobra? The way that I read it, which I'm going to pull it up, but the way that I read it was... was basically like Emu had a hunch the whole time, but that was like the confirmation was that. I'm gonna go back, what was it, 1085 that was revealed, right? Let's see. Yeah, because the way I understood it was just like Emu knew that was it, but it's like basically like I'm trying to remember the exact dialogue. What was it? Was it an accident or a part of a bigger plan or something? Right? It's like Emu wasn't sure. Yeah, it says like, okay, so yeah, so without that blunder, there would be. Excuse me, the hiccups are killing me. Without that blunder, there would be no pirates chasing the poneglyphs in pursuit of treasure either. If it were not for Lily's incompetence on that fateful day, those vexing relics would never have been scattered all over the world. The release of the poneglyphs was the worst possible outcome for us, so one must wonder whether it was truly a mistake or if it was actually part of some larger plan. So right there, basically, I'm reading it as like, Emu knew Lily did it, but Lily didn't know, but Emu didn't know if Lily did it on purpose. Because it says like, if it were not for Lily's incompetence, so one must wonder whether it was truly a mistake. Like, Emu didn't know what Lily's intentions truly were back then. And then whenever he heard that Lily actually had the initial D, that was the confirmation to Emu that it was part of a larger plan and not an accident. So he knew Lily scattered the poneglyphs. He just didn't know the motive behind it. That's the way I read it. Did someone say Vex? Well, I did now. I'm glad you're here, my man. John Stoops with the $10 super chat. Appreciate you, John. I believe Scopper has to be the one guarding the final poneglyph, but how did he move it and how did he get the burn scars? The egg on their ship. Maybe he was scarred by it and it moved the poneglyph. I guess I'm confused on how he would get scarred by the egg and how it would move the poneglyph part. Are you saying the egg hatched into something and then it went around and like accidentally burnt him and got it? You know, I mean, it's possible. I'm a bigger believer that Scopper's waiting at Lodestar. I mean, he could have the egg on their ship with him, but I don't think it has to be the egg and the poneglyph. You know what I mean? Because also, that poneglyph that was taken was in Fishman Island, and Whitebeard controlled that for a really long time. Now, would Whitebeard trust Scopper enough to let him take it and protect it? Maybe. I mean, they're probably on pretty good terms. But at the same time, it's like, you know, Whitebeard, like I guess anyone can do it. Why Scopper, right? It's like anyone at that point could come down and take it. If Whitebeard's gonna like give permission to somebody, which I think had to happen, like Whitebeard had to allow the poneglyph to get taken. I don't see any other way around it, and the fishmen would have had to agree. But I guess just why Scopper is the reason. Yeah, I'm a bigger believer he's on Lodestar waiting, because then you have Crocus at the beginning, Rayleigh at the halfway point, and Scopper at the end. And we know that the man marked by flames is on a ship moving around, right? He's not stationary. He's creating whirlpools on a black ship or whatever. So that would also make, I mean, again, it's just my personal theory he's on Lodestar. We don't have that confirmation, so it's whatever. But I think since he is probably stationary like the other Roger pirates were, then he can't be the man marked by flames. So yeah, and I mean, and as far as the burn scars, you know, I mean, I could definitely get behind, like, he could just get burnt any number of ways. You know, he could go fight, you know, somebody in the meantime after Roger died and get burnt too. So I could buy that, but I guess just the egg part, it's like, I don't think Oda has to mix all those theories. I think it might be juicier if he has the egg as its own little storyline and the poneglyph as its own storyline. You know what I mean? But with that being said, I'm ready for Scopper to return, man. That's the one. Him and Geen are the two people that I think are like number one most needed to show up at some point. You know, like, or at least that we're waiting to see. Like, they don't need to show up immediately, but like, you know, everyone at any point can be like, I bet you this mystery person is Scopper, or this mystery person is Geen. You know, that's like, it's like the number one, like throw-in answer for those situations. But yeah, I'm ready at any point for Scopper to come back. That I think when Scopper gets fleshed out, he might be my favorite Roger pirate, which sounds blasphemous because, like, I mean, Rayleigh's a goat, Roger's a goat, but Scopper has had like no shine, and he's like the Sanji of the crew, and the fact we're saving him for last makes me really excited for him. So let's see. The Abyss, you said, Dak, I have a question. Where are the Rogers' other crew? You mean like the other Rogers' other crewmates, like the old ones, like the old ones, the smaller ones, the non-top tier ones? You know, it's a great question. I think there's a good chance that Oda doesn't do a whole lot with them, because, like, well, I think they're gonna die at some point. I should say, which is so sad to say. It feels like I'm just throwing them under the bus, but I do think they're gonna die eventually because they know too much, and they're also probably really powerful and all that. It's kind of like the Whitebeard remnants. Like, the Whitebeard remnants don't know as much as the Roger pirates, obviously, but they're really powerful. Like, in Marco even mentioned, like, Lunarians were on the Red Line before Marijois was even up there. So, like, they know stuff. You know what I mean? And so I think Oda's got to kind of clean house a little bit with these groups that are really strong and know a lot. And so I think they're going to get wiped out. So I think there's a good chance that the rest of the Roger pirates maybe, like, show up at an important moment, make a final stand, and die protecting Luffy, and that's like the end of their story. Which, you know, it's like kind of shortchanging them a little bit, but I mean, they got to go to Laugh Tale, man. That's enough. The one Roger pirate that I need to see soon, though, is Jackson Banner. That guy with the Gear 5 afro who was at Laugh Tale. I need to. John Stoops, you said, fair, my brain just started cooking a little bit and I had to get it out. With the connection to the Roger pirates in this chapter, the egg never being mentioned or seen, it just came to my mind. I think, was it Hidden Island that had a theory similar to that? there's been so many man marked by flames theories, it's hard for me to remember who everyone has as their take, because everyone has a different answer, it feels like. Mine is Mass Deuce, which I bring up in my next video, by the way. It's not like a major point, but the next video is about Sphinx Island and Impel Down. I think it's a really good video. You guys are going to like it, I think. I hope. But because Deuce was last seen at Sphinx Island, and also Sphinx Island is where, like, Whitebeard's inheritance is supposed to be and stuff, I think Oda's cooking something really special there, and I think we could at least find out about the man marked by flames at Sphinx. Maybe we don't meet him, maybe we don't get the poneglyph, but I think we could learn about it there, because if you look back to, like when Kid first mentioned the man marked by flames, like, Law also knew about it based off his reaction, and Kid's even like, what, you don't know? Like, what the heck? How? You know, so it's like a thing that a lot of people know about. Blackbeard knew about it more than a year ago, or because he knew about it during the time skip. So we have this kind of weird situation where, like, the Straw Hats just haven't heard this news that everyone else has heard, which is weird. And I think Sphinx Island could be the place they find out about it. And I think the inheritance that Miss Buckingham keeps talking about might be that poneglyph. That's my favorite outcome for that situation, because it just being money is kind of lame. Like, as we've seen in One Piece, like, treasure is, you know, it's different for every person. You know, for Buggy, it probably is money. For Whitebeard, was actually a family. But now whenever they say inheritance, that's, like, not just treasure. That's, like, even better. And so I don't think it's going to be money. I think it being the road poneglyph makes a lot of sense, because that's, like, so important. That's, like, something worthy of, you know, protecting and making sure, like, someone who carries your will has, kind of thing. So yeah, I think Sphinx Island's where we're going to find out about that. So hopefully we're not too far away from it. Duran Ross, you said, I think Arlong's a slave on Marijua, which is why there's no fishmen in Impel Down other than Jinbei. Fishmen are more valuable as slaves. That's an interesting thought. You know, Arlong is kind of like I think he's strong enough and like important enough to still want to put an Impel Down, you know, because I agree with you that fishmen are probably like the government probably prefers to keep them in Marijua and use them that way. But Arlong is pretty dangerous. Like, he ran the East Blue for a while and stuff. And so since he's that dangerous, I feel like he could be an Impel Down. But I agree with the general logic you're making. In the video that I drop soon, I talk about Arlong potentially getting freed from Impel Down. Not like a big point. I'm like, here's some people we could see again. So I kind of hope Arlong's there, because two things. If we have another Impel Down breakout, Arlong could fill the Jinbei role, right? Jinbei was a huge help in getting out of there, because he was able to call in the tiger sharks. I think it were whatever, whale sharks. Yeah, whale sharks, because he's a whale shark. That he called out to help them once they jumped out of the prison, right? And remember, the prison's flooding now. They're having issues on the upper level, and, like, the prisoners seem to know that the flooding's coming. And so if the prison does start flooding, then I think Oda's going to have at least one important fishman in there, just to kind of make that easier, right? Like, imagine Arlong gets freed, and he gets freed on the premise of helping everyone, right? That's like how Crocodile got freed. It's like, I'll help you if you free me. It's the same thing for Arlong. And imagine Arlong gets freed, and he's, like, swimming around in the floodwater, saving people from the cells. Like, I think that would just be super cool, because Arlong can swim super duper fast. I mean, all the fishmen can swim super duper fast, right? Like, compared to humans. But Arlong, I don't know if Oda, like, expanded upon this a lot, but, like, as we saw kind of with his attacks at Arlong Park, like, he can go so fast, he just, like, shoots way out of the water and, like, goes flying, right? Which, can other fishermen do that? Probably, but he's like a saw. Oh, I forget what that shark is called. But he's, like, built to go fast like a torpedo, you know what I mean? So I could see him swimming super fast and Impel Down to go save people who are drowning as, like, a condition to get out, right? To get freed. He's a blue saw shark fish. That's what Arlong is. Saw shark fish. So yeah, I hope he gets freed there, but we'll see. Azagast celebrated being a member for 14 months. Let's go. Didn't miss this live. Well, you made it towards the very end, because I am going to be wrapping it up soon. I'll still be here for a few minutes, especially now that you're here, of course. But you almost missed it, but you did make it. So I appreciate you, my man. Appreciate you. And Azagast and anyone else who won TCG cards in the last giveaway, I'm shipping them out tomorrow, by the way. I've had a very busy week. As I mentioned towards the beginning of the stream, I hurt my back last week cleaning the cat litter, which is super embarrassing. But like I just pulled like a little muscle, but I've been down for the count. I can walk and stand normal, but sitting down was like excruciating pain. It was a very awkward week for me because I had to I do most of my work on the computer, right? So long story short, I haven't gotten to ship those out yet. That's basically what I was saying. So but I'm gonna ship those out tomorrow, Azagast and everyone else, just FYI. Kush Daddy, you said just get a new back. Dude, if I could get a new back, I'd be at the store right now. I'd end the stream right now. I would spawn a Gorosei summoning circle on the floor right here, and I'd teleport over there immediately and get a new back. Trust me. I hurt my back when I was training for the Columbus Marathon in 2015. I was training really, really hard, and after I ran and worked out, I went and played basketball that day. So it was like my third. It was like a 3 a day. You know what I mean? I went and did way too much, and I pulled my back playing basketball, and it has never been the same since. So if I could go get a new one, dude, I'd be there right now. I used to go to physical therapy at first it was a couple times a week, then once a month and whatever, and I stopped going because it got better, but now I reheard it, so whatever. Don't have to explain all that to you guys, but I do have back issues, so actually, you know what? If I could summon a summoning circle, then I'd probably just be immortal, and I could just heal automatically, so I wouldn't even have this issue, so you know, maybe I just need the immortality surgery. Any takers in the chat? And I'll pay for the fruit if you do the surgery for me. Just let me know. Maybe we can meet at Anime NYC or something and we can make it happen. I really appreciate that. Lucky Beetle, you said, Dak, do you think Rox D. Xebec is emu? No. I would say definitely not. Now, what I will say, though, is I think Rox was dabbling in the taboos that emu dabbled in, and how emu got to where they are. Like, because you look at the Gorosei who have like demonic-esque powers. I mean, they're, you know, devil fruits. No matter what we're talking about, like all devil fruits are demonic in some way, just because like it has devil in the name. They were said to have devils inside them, etc. But the Gorosei seem to be kind of extra demonic with the summoning circles, the Tide of Brooks time skip, and all this kind of stuff. And so I think Rox D. Xebec was flirting with that realm of things. Like he was getting into the underworld magic type stuff like the Gorosei are into. Maybe he like knew how to do the summoning circle nonsense. And so I think he is an allegory for emu, but isn't actually him. No. I'm a big believer that Nerona Emu, the guy who is the #1 villain in One Piece, is the Nerona Emu from 900 years ago, who was a king of a different country. We don't know what he looks like, but we just know he was an actual leader of a different country. And so going back to the Lily thing, like I get the idea that maybe he took over Lily because Lily can control Uranus, and maybe that was the whole thing. But I think it would be more likely that like emu just is emu, right? The original person, because they also call emu. Emu even calls themselves emu, like moo. And it's just like him being the same person from 900 years ago who led the whole thing and all that. It's just, I don't know. It makes a lot of sense. It could be the Lily thing too, where like he's controlling Lily or whatever. It's definitely not going to be that Lily is consciously emu, though. You know, I'll definitely say that much. Which I have heard that theory a couple times, like emu is actually or Lily's actually the evil one now or whatever. But no chance there, I don't think. And also, actually, I want to say one other thing about this Lily, like, is Emu controlling Lily thing. Whenever Cobra was in the room with Emu, like, was Cobra looking at a silhouette, or could Cobra see Emu's face? Because if Emu looked like Lily, who looks like Vivi, Cobra would have said something. But instead, Cobra was like, wait, Emu, there was a king back then. Is it just a coincidence? So, yeah, but we'll see. Let's see. Yeah, and Lucky Beetle, I'm glad you just said that. You said Emu's a male. So that's another good point where when they talk to Emu, like the Gorosei talk to Emu, they use a male celestial dragon kanji, which, you know, that maybe that's not a great enough point. You know, maybe that's like just Oda be like hiding it, like just defaulting to male because he had to pick one of the two, because I think a lot of their terms like that like indicate male or female like right off the bat. Like they don't have a lot of neutral ones. I think I'm not a specialist. I'm just spitballing. And so since they said that Emu was male based off that kanji, it makes me think, okay, so the person they're looking at's a guy. Like, you know, now could it be Emu's mind controlling Lily? Maybe, but I like the idea much more that it is Emu. Like, it physically Emu, it's the body of Nerona Emu, but controlled by somebody else, right? Like, Emu got, like, by some kind of demon thing or whatever. Like how people eat a devil fruit and can use the devil fruit's powers. Like, the person controls the devil's powers in that way. I hope it's the other way where the devil's powers are controlling Emu. Like, it's a flip of the original. But we'll see. Also, I gotta say, I'm really glad to see that after 467 votes, that's a lot, on the poll where I said who's better, Laboon is leading with 83%. I'm gonna send a picture of that to my guy John Sherrod on all socials. That's so funny to say in this context, but yeah, the Laboon Workery wars are starting, and if Laboon actually beats Topman Workery at any point in the future, that's going to be crazy. I doubt it will happen, but I think Laboon is going to get... He's going to have a fight eventually. It's going to be some crazy thing in the ocean, I would imagine, but... Laboon for president? Agreed, Yenny. Agreed. Bushido... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, never mind. I saw that one. Bushido with the €2 super chat. I think Emu is Nami's dad. I would be beyond shocked, but I do like the idea that Emu is from Oikot Kingdom, though, because Emu obviously had to control some kingdom back in the day, and I think the two leading candidates by far for Emu's home country are Oikot Kingdom or Goa Kingdom. I kind of like Goa more the more I think about it. It's sort of obvious because that's where Luffy's from, but going back to the Stelly parallel that I mentioned earlier, where Stelly wants to sit on the empty throne, Stelly didn't care about the oath to not sit on the throne. Stelly killed his own parents to become king of Goa. There's a lot of nasty things there. Also, Sabo is the one who went and met Emu, and Sabo should technically be the king of Goa today, but he opted to leave, and that's why Stelly got to take the position, because Stelly was like adopted into the family and all that. So I think Goa actually makes a lot more sense the more I think about it. We also have Tequila Wolf in the East Blue. Could that be connecting to Goa because Emu wants to go back there for some reason and take over his land again, kind of like Doflamingo did in Dressrosa? Maybe. But I like Oikot too, just because that's Tokyo backwards. Tokyo is like, the biggest or most famous city in Japan, and so for Emu to have that city or that island tying to that city as like their home, that makes sense too, because Emu would own like the biggest and best place would be like the idea there. And also Oikot was protected by the Marines, which indicates government affiliation right away. So that would mean that, that kingdom's paying the tribute. That kingdom could have been one of the original 20 probably, and that's why they're still paying the tribute, maybe. Azagast, you said yes, so it was Dak who mentioned Stelly. Nice. Yes, sir. I'm big on that parallel, honestly. I'm so like, not that Emu has to look like Stelly, right? Like the appearance part, Oda can do whatever he wants, but just the series of events here, you know, like Stelly is almost like a shittier Blackbeard. Like I say, and I don't mean that in terms of strength. Obviously, Stelly is a weakling, but just in terms of like, Blackbeard killed his brother, right? Thatch, his brother on Whitebeard's crew, technically. He killed his brother to get a power that he wanted to go help him take over the world, essentially. Stelly killed his parents, or at least, like, seems to have, right? I think it's, like, painted as I think it's painted like it was an accident, but it's kind of clearly hinted that he actually did it. I can't remember the entire context, but just that, like, the willingness to kill your own family, avoid any oath about working with others, like, you just want to be the king of the whole world, like, that had to be Emu's goal since day one, I think. Kush Dad, you said Laboon versus Jupeter. Oh, man. You know, if Jupeter is going to lose, Laboon would be an alright person to lose to, you know, because... You know, I love Jupeter a lot because he's the sandworm. It's a little bit of a Pluton vibe for me. You know, he can dig through the ground, make tunnels and stuff. So it hurts me to imagine him losing. But losing to Laboon, I'd like that. I don't know how that would really happen unless he can, like, jump in the water. But Juan Martinez said Usopp versus Jupeter, another digging opponent. I could get behind that too. That makes a lot of sense. Who did... Because I know, like, in, like, Miss Merry Christmas in Alabasta. Sorry, I'm blanking real hard. I know that he fought her, and she was obviously a digging opponent. They used the holes, and in that regard. But in Fishman Island, who fought... Hold on. In Fishman Island, who fought the digging guy there? Was it Usopp, or was it... Did Usopp fight that guy, too? I can't even remember. Yeah, he did, right? Daruma, is that his name? Yeah, so Usopp fought him too, right? Yep. So, yeah. So, oh, by the way, I gotta say, it's really crazy that I can go on Google and I type in, who did Usopp fight in Fishman Island? And I get an AI answer that's super detailed, explaining Daruma and who he is. That's like, AI's getting crazy. But, which, like, I'm okay with that use. You know, some stuff's a little too crazy, but that is helpful. But yeah, so I like that Usopp versus Jupeter. That's like a lock. Because I didn't even think about the fact that he had fought two. You know, I knew about Miss Merry Christmas, but now they fought two for sure. Thorak videos, you said, so what did Momo figure out about Pluton? I think Momo was gonna say, like, oh, so the government has Pluton? Like, Pluton's not under us? Pluton's over there? Which is wrong, right? Pluton is under Wano, but what I think he's talking about, and he's kind of speaking my language right now, is he is, like, because he knows Pluton is supposed to destroy islands in a single blast like that. Like, he actually, guys, he probably knows better than anyone, because he, he read Odin's journal, right? And he got whatever intel passed down from Sukiyaki, because, like, there's like stuff passed down through the shogunate, right? So he knows tons of stuff about Pluton, that even more than we have been told, probably. So I think when he hears this stuff from Vegapunk, like you know, island was erased, earthquakes, blah blah blah, I think he's like, okay, that's what Pluton does. There's, like, you're telling me Pluton got out? I think that's why he's really worried about it. But going back to my last video, I think this is an anti-Pluton thing. You know, in Eni's lobby, they basically said, hey, these blueprints can create a counter for the real thing. And so, just logically speaking, if you make something that can beat the original, it's as strong as the original, right? Like, it should be. I mean, sometimes, you know, counters for things are a little bit different than that. But when you're talking about ancient weapons that destroy islands in a single blast, you're probably talking about something similar to counter the first one. Like, something that can almost destroy an island in a single blast again. Especially because Pluton's under Wano right now. So, like, if you wanted to beat Pluton, you would almost have to erase an island to beat the original Pluton, right? Like, if you went around to every island and just erased it with whatever the government's using, then you're kind of doing what Pluton is supposed to do. Like, they're erasing different islands, trying to get rid of the original. Like, you're countering it. So basically, long story short, I think all he's saying here is like he thinks Pluton got taken, but it's a hint to us. It's Oda's way of telling us, no, they have an anti-Pluton type weapon, a second coming of Pluton, a recreation, a knockoff version, whatever you want to call it, right? Probably of the dollar store variety too, which it's still amazing, but I just say that because the Ancient Kingdom's better than Vegapunk. So whatever Vegapunk made, like, well, the Mother Flame, and then whatever they're using it in conjunction with, that is not as good as Pluton, but it's very similar to it. And so yeah, my guess though, going back to the beginning, just because I was dying to talk about this, was I'm thinking that it's just the government gave that little bit of Mother Flame a devil fruit, had it go over, detonate, just like Smiley, boom. I think, and now they probably have the devil fruit again. They could just give it to like a flying, give the Mother Flame bit like a, I don't even know, just a regular bird fruit, one of the only 5 fruits that can fly according to Pell, and send it over, have it just explode, and then boom, then go get the fruit again, retrieve it, and repeat. Because remember, they mentioned that they need more Mother Flames, right? That like the first one was exhausted, or it's gone now, and they need to make more, and that's why York needs the original Mother Flame, because York is taking part of it in an Olympic torch type situation. So I can't wait to get to the bottom of this, because whatever mechanism the Mother Flame is used within to like explode or whatever, it's gonna be something funny. I'll put it that way. Like in my video, I talked about the idea, like, maybe they just put the Mother Flame like into like a bombshell and blew it up, or put it like into a weather egg shell and blew it up, because like whenever weather eggs blow up, like clouds pop out, a giant lightning strike comes down. It's very similar aesthetically, but I could also see it just being like a bird or whatever, you know what I mean? That they just, they give it like a bird fruit, have it fly over. I don't know. And then, because I think what's interesting with that idea is, in my video, I talked about how Zunisha might be the same thing. Like, Zunisha might be a power source with an elephant fruit, which, if you haven't seen the video, that probably sounds like the craziest thing, but, and so, tying to that, Zunisha was able to walk around for like 1,000 years, and Zunisha took commands, right? Somebody could tell Zunisha what to do. And so that's really weird. It's almost like Zunisha has an authority chip. So now, going to whatever the weapon was at Lelucia, I could definitely see a world where like they gave the Mother Flame a devil fruit, a zone fruit, and could somehow command it like people command Zunisha, and just told it like, go over here and blow up, and that's it, right? Again, like Smiley at Punk Hazard. Smiley is the perfect example here for me. That's also where we learned like how devil fruit reincarnation works, which is like its own really important thing. So yeah, that was a really long diatribe. I just wanted to cook on that for a minute. Mr. Bushido with the €2 super chat. Check Discord for the full Nami Emu theory. Well, that's a good segue to say, y'all, you guys should definitely go join the Discord if you haven't already. I believe I have a link in the description. I do. I'm always in there cooking. At least I think I'm cooking, but I'm in there talking at least. And so we also have a section where I forget, I don't even know what I call it, like the theory, I don't even know, the theory kitchen, where you can do like full theories, like forum posts. And I imagine that's where Bushido put it. So everyone, you should definitely go check that out. If you have any really good crazy theories, definitely go and put that in there, because that's the place to go for sure. So I saw a couple people talking about how the Cypher Pole agents got eaten by Jupeter. I want to go and look at this because I didn't really catch that, but logistically I could already see how that would have happened in my head, because like they fell down. Let me go back up. Is it right here? Where is it at? Where is it at? Oh, right here. You're right. I have no idea what what is going on, dude. My first guess, I have two guesses here. One, the Cypher Pole agents failed, and when Cypher Pole agents fail, they get punished, right? Like, remember how they went after Lucci and the gang after they lost at Denny's lobby? So that could be one layer of it. It's just Jupeter punishing them, you know what I mean? Or it could be that because they've been here on Egghead so long, they might know too much. Like, maybe Jupeter's wondering if they overheard some stuff from Vegapunk or York, and they might know too much about the future now, and they, you know, he doesn't want them getting out and sharing it. And if it's neither of those two, then maybe he's inhaling them so he can, like, store them in his stomach, so whenever they leave, he can spit them back out and, you know, they're safe. Maybe he doesn't want to lose the agents, basically. Those are my three options. It is weird as hell to look at, though, isn't it? Like, what? Like, what in the world? I can't even believe I didn't even really, like, mentally make that connection. Like, that's so weird. Yeah, David, sorry. I did see it earlier, but I got off on a tangent, but I'm glad I caught back up with that, because that's very strange. Very, very strange. Abyss, you said, what do you think of what York said about the timeline thing? Yeah, that's the big mystery to me. I like Shiny Charizard's idea earlier about, like, S-Bear maybe, like, ejected the memories out, or I kind of added on to that, like, maybe Vegapunk cut part of the memories out, because he's already cut his brain off and stored it somewhere else. Like, maybe he has a way of taking out certain bits of information. So I don't know. That's something I really want an answer for, because you know, if you've watched a lot of my streams throughout this whole arc, probably, like, the biggest thing I've been talking about is, like, timelines. Like, you know how Tekking says geography is everything? Timelines are everything is my tagline, because that's, I mean, Oda is fooling us, like, on purpose. Like, he's making things hard to understand on purpose so that it's harder to predict things, you know what I mean? Like, back when the Giants came and beat the Marines and saved the evacuation ship, the timing still doesn't really make a lot of sense to me there. Like, I can reason a way for that to work, but it still doesn't really make sense. But the way he set that up made it really hard, because you wouldn't think Elbaf like, just because of the timing, because the ship left yesterday, you're like, okay, so how does this, you know, when you're trying to think about it, it makes that harder to work. Because we saw the evacuation ship left yesterday, the Giants were on Elbaf yesterday. You never would have thought that those could merge, because the timeline just doesn't seem like it. But Oda made it work somehow, and he's kind of doing the same thing here. Like, and York is even trying to think, like, what in the world? Like, how does that, you know, this doesn't make any sense. So, I don't know, man. I'm waiting to figure it out. But all right, guys, we actually hit the 2-hour mark, which is a lot. I usually stop this a bit early, and it's funny because I came into the stream saying my back hurt, and I was thinking I might end it early, and instead it went longer than normal, which is totally no problem. Well, it was another great chapter, guys. Maybe I'd give this one like a 7 or 8 out of 10. I only say that because it was shorter. You know, last one was a 10. Last one was a straight 10. This one, 7 or 8-ish. Still a very good chapter, just shorter, but yeah, so I guess just a couple announcements real quick. Definitely go join the Discord if you haven't. I see I have a lot of messages to go respond to there. If you have theories to share there, that's the place for sure. Discord's growing every single day. Also, please go subscribe to my second channel if you have not already. Like I said, I have a discussion about the cross deal with Randy coming out, and some other good stuff coming. And then lastly, I'm going to be doing a stream later this weekend. I tentatively want to say tonight, but I don't want to lock myself into that. But I'm gonna do a One Piece discussion stream Sunday or Monday, because we're on a break week. So I'm gonna definitely do like a little bit of a review and theory discussion with you guys. But I'm also gonna stream on Twitch, so you guys should definitely go follow me over there. I'm gonna do a video game stream this weekend. I don't know if anybody has ever heard of Poke Rogue. but it's a fan-made game. You can play for free on pokerogue.net on your phone or PC, whatever. Just go to the website. It's so addicting, it's crazy. And it might not be the only game I play. Maybe I'll get on and play the finals, or I'll get on and play Apex or something with some of you guys if you guys want to join. But I'm definitely gonna play some Pokerogue because I'm just so addicted, and I think you guys will like it. If you guys like Pokemon. So other than that, video dropping likely tomorrow or this weekend, somewhere around there. But other than that, guys, thank you.